трагедии или о геноциде черкесского народа, мы должны понимать, что это не произошло когда-то столетиями назад. Те методы, которые были использованы русскими для уничтожения народа Черкесии или кавказских народов, эти методы России используются по сегодняшний день. Международное сообщество, которое столетиями молчало о трагедии черкесского народа, в конце концов должны сегодня признать эту ошибку и отдать должное для торжества справедливости.
Tarptautinė bendruomenė, kuri taip ilgai tylėjo apie šitą čerkesų tragediją, turi ją pripažinti ir garbingai paskleisti tą tiesą pasaulyje.
Мы, в конце концов, должны начать называть вещи своими именами, чтобы сами русские понимали, вот какое отношение у цивилизованного мира к этому народу, к этой нации.
Galų gale mes turime pradėti vadinti reiškinius savo vardais ir pasakyti, kaip iš tikrųjų mes turėtume žiūrėti šitą naciją.
Все народы, которые как или иначе соприкасались с Россией, в их истории одни трагические даты.
Visos tautos, kurios vienaip ar kitaip prisilietė su Rusija, jų istorijoje vien tik tragiškos datos ir įvykiai.
Великий сын чеченского народа, кавказского народа, первый президент Закаев в одном из своих выступлений очень ярко и четко это подчеркнул. Сколько можно отмечать трагические дни?
Vienas iš čečėnų didvyrių, vadinasi lyderis Zakajevas, vieną kartą pasakė, kiek galima minėti tik tragiškus mūsų istorijos įvykius.
Поэтому сегодня и хорошие русские, которые сегодня находятся в Европе, и те, кто поддерживает Путина в надежде на то, что Россия выиграет эту войну,
ir šiandien tie vadinamieji gerieji rusai ir tie, kurie vis dar tikisi, kad Putinas laimės šitą kabutėse teisingą karą,
должны понять одно, самую главную истину. До тех пор, пока они не распрощаются со своим террористическим прошлым, у них нет будущего.
Jie turi suprasti, kad tol, kol jie neatsisveikins su savo teroristinė praeitim, jie neturi jokios ateities.
Сегодня то, что Россия вытворяет в Украине, ежедневные убийства женщин, детей, стариков, разрушаются целые города, которые строились столетиями.
Tai, ką rusai šiandien daro Ukrainoje, naikindami vaikus, moteris, miestus, kurie šimtmečiais, tūkstantmečiais buvo statomi.
И при этом Россия сегодня пытается навязать миру какой-то свой особый путь развития.
Ir šiandien Rusija dar vis ketina pasauliui parduoti kažkokį specifinį vystymosi kelią.
Я очень рад, что сегодня в Литве проходит вот этот форум признанию геноцида черкесского народа.
Aš labai džiaugiuosi, kad būtent Lietuvoje vyksta šitas forumas, kuriame būtų pripažinta čerkesų genocidas.
Есть Вильнюсе, Латвия, Эстония, это страны, которые прошли через того, что они потеряли свою свободу и десятилетиями находились под оккупацией советской.
Lietuviai, Latvijai, Estai, dešimtmečiais buvo rusų okupacijų, žino, ką tai reiškia.
И эти страны, как никто другой, понимают, что сегодня происходит и что делает Россия.
Ir šitos šalis labai gerai supranta, kas iš tikrųjų vyksta ir ką šiandien Rusija daro.
И признание геноцида черкесского народа – это не только история, исторический факт, это та необходимость, чтобы изменить существующий подход России к современному миру.
Todėl čerkesų genocido pripažinimas ne tik kažkoks teisingumo įvykdymas, bet taip pat ir nustatymas tam tikro metodo, kaip mes turėtume žiūrėti Rusiją šiandieniniam pasauliu.
Джилимантес очень давно занимается вопросами малых народов, коренных народов, которые находятся в колониальной зависимости от России. И то, что сегодня при его участии будет проходить эта конференция и будет обращение к Сейму, чтобы признать геноцид. Я еще раз благодарю вас и всех ваших коллег, которые работают в этом ключе.
Dėkojame man ir kitiems Seimo nariams, kurie jau seniai užsiima pavartosiomis tautomis ir galbūt tai sudarys galimybę pripažinti черкесского genocidą Seime.
Любая акция, политическая акция, если она не имеет последствий, это ничего не означает.
Bet koks politinis veiksmas, jeigu jis neturi pasekmių, jis nieko nereiškia.
Я приведу просто два примера, очень свежих два примера.
Du pavyzdžiai.
В 2000 году парламентская ассамблея Совета Европы приняла резолюцию с тем, чтобы страны, входящие в Совет Европы, обратились и подали в суд против России за военные преступления, которые она совершает в Чечне.
Europos tarybos parlamentinė asamblėja 2000 metais kreipėsi į savo narės, prašydama, kad pripažintų genocidą ir tos nusikaltimus, kurie buvo padaryti Čečėnijai.
В 2004 году Европарламент принял резолюцию, признал геноцид, рекомендовал признать геноцид чечено-ингушского народа 1944 года.
Kaip ir 2004 metais Europos parlamentas pripažino čečėnų-ingušijos genocidą.
Ну, ничего за этим не последовало. Ничего.
To nieko neįvyko po šitų rezoliucijų.
В 2008 году я обратился к руководству Грузии с тем, чтобы они подали в суд против России за войну в Чечне. Они, как член Совета Европы, имели право это делать.
8 metais kreipiausi į Sakartvelo vadovybę, prašydamas, kad jie paduotų į teismą Rusiją dėl šių nusikaltimų, nes jie turėjo tam teisę dar kaip Europos tarybos nariai.
Грузия побоялась это сделать, чтобы не раздражать Россию.
Bet Sakartvelas įsigando to daryti, kad neišerzintų Rusijos.
В конечном итоге Грузия сегодня лишилась национального суверенитета. Это знают наши друзья.
Грузинai nebeturi faktiškai savo nacionalinį suverenitetą.
Я обращался в Украину.
Кreipiausi į Ukrainą.
В 2014 году, когда Россия совершила агрессию против Украины, Украина не признала этот факт.
Украина to irgi nepripažino.
Украина это сделала в 22 году после полномасштабной агрессии России 18 октября.
Украина tai padarė tik po 22 metų invazijos.
Чтобы вот все, что мы делаем, имело последствия, нужно следующие шаги сделать. И сегодня у Литвы и других стран, которые будут рассматривать и признавать геноцид черкесского народа, есть Ингушетия, которая подверглась геноциду, есть другие кавказские народы. Об этом надо будет заявлять и призывать Россию к тому, чтобы она была ответственна, а не заниматься умиротворением России, которая ведет агрессивную войну в Украине и совершает преступления. Спасибо огромное. Спасибо вам всем, литовцам, Литве и всем нашим друзьям, которые обращают на эту трагедию внимание.
Ačiū labai lietuviams, visiems draugams, kurie padeda atkreipti dėmesį į šią tragediją.
Дякуємо gerbiamam Akhmedui Zakayevui.
Временно это очень помогло нам.
Вот почему мы должны к этому вернуться. Мы это начали в Украине. Да. Украина приняла постановление, что территория Чеченской Республики временно оккупирована. Да. Вот этот аналог нужно провести вот здесь по европейским странам. Мы сейчас работаем со всеми. И надо будет... Thank you very much. Thank you. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this event, very important event, for inviting me and giving me opportunity to express my point of view. It's very sensitive issues which we have today. And also I would like to greeting all participants on the Chechen language. Mashdovil. It means come freely. And you now understand what means for Chechens, for Caucasian people, freedom. Freedom is not only just words for Caucasian peoples. It's our life. Thank you for inviting and having us. Honorable members of Parliament and estimated participants of this conference. It is a great honor for me to speak today at this forum in a country that has itself gone through occupation and attempt to destroy its statehood and dignity of its people. Here today, the discussions of genocide of Circassian people cease to be merely a topic for historians. It becomes a matter of conscience, of security, and of the future of all Europe. When we speak about the genocide, the Circassians, we are not speaking only about a tragedy of the 19th century. We are speaking about ongoing crime of the Russian Empire. The very same empire that has changed its flags and its official names, but has never changed its essence, colonial, aggressive, and contemptuous of human life. From expulsion of the Circassians, from the conquest of Chechnya and whole North Caucasus, from the deportation of the Chechens and Ingush to Bucha and Mariupol. This is one line, one logic, the destruction of free peoples. Historical memory is not a museum, it is a political compass. The recognition of the genocide of the Circassian people by democratic states is not just a courtesy towards the past, but a choice of direction in the present. If we honestly call a crime genocide, we are obliged to take the next step to change our policy in such a way that something like this can never be repeated. And today, when in a sense a third world war is under way, hybrid, protracted, but no less real, for that we simply have no moral right to remain in zone of comfortable formulas and half measures. All half steps of diplomatic ambiguities today work not for peace, but work for the aggressor. Every time we avoid direct words when we call war a crisis, occupation a conflict, and genocide a tragedy, we give Moscow yet another signal to impunity. The Russian Empire is very skilled at reading weakness. It interprets caution as an invitation to strike again. Lithuania knows this better than many. Lithuania, like Estonia and Latvia, were once deprived of your freedom under the same flag that today is bombing Ukrainian cities and continues to keep the peoples of the North Caucasus in bondage. And we must speak honestly. If today, timely and sufficiently firm, discussions are not taken, tomorrow occupation may return to the Baltic states. This is not the rhetoric or fear. It's a sober analysis of the behavior of an empire that recognizes only the language of strength and resolve. Therefore, when we're speaking about the recognition of the genocide of Circassian people, I am addressing you not only as the Parliament of the Republic of Lithuania, a country in solidarity with the victims of the past. I am addressing the leadership of our country, which in my view must become the political vanguard in Europe, the vanguard of honest languages and a real strategy. If we recognize that Russian Empire has committed and continue to commit genocide against the peoples of the Caucasus, then we must also recognize the consequences of this. That subjugated peoples are not an internal affair of Russia. This is a question of international security and international law. In this regard, I call on the Lithuanian Seims, following the examples of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, to recognize the territory of the Chechen Republic of Ичкерия as a temporarily occupied by Russia. Such a decision will have three key consequences. First off, it will affirm a simple truth. The Chechen people are not a part of the Russian Federation that has voluntarily accepted its rules. The Chechen people are people deprived of their independent status as a result of war, occupation and mass crimes which the international community has yet to fully name and investigate. Second, it will send a clear signal to all other subjugated peoples of the Russian Empire
Europe sees you and he's you. The recognition of the Circassian genocide and the recognition of Ichkeria as an occupied territory are two parts of single step. We are not merely mourning the past. We are building a political bridge to a future in which the Caucasus ceases to be an internal colony and becomes a fully fledged subject of European and global politics. Third, such a decision will strengthen Lithuania itself and the entire Baltic region, because Lithuania's security begins not only at its own border, but also on the Kuban, in Grozny, and in Nalchik. Dismantling imperial control over the North Caucasus is not an abstract Russian problem. It is a key element of the long-term security of the region from the Baltic to the Black Sea. We often hear we must think about war after the war. But let us honestly acknowledge this after will depend on whether we have the courage today to call things by name, its proper names. The Third World War that Russia has unleashed against the international order is waged not only with tanks and missiles, but also with lies, with the subsequences of concepts, with attempts to present colonial aggression as the defense of historical interests. The recognition of genocide and the recognition of occupation are ways to destroy this lie, to strip the empire of its moral mask and to show that what we face is not some special civilizational path, but the hybrid politics of violence and conquest. In 2023, in the building of the European Parliament in Brussels, the founding Congress of the Committee for the Restoration of Statehoods of Peoples of the North Caucasus was held, bringing together delegates of the Caucasian resistance from the United States, Turkey, Jordan, and many other countries. At this Congress, a program was adopted to coordinate the political, legal, and information struggle for the occupation of the region, as well as a mechanism for permanent interaction with European institutions and national parliaments. The committee was headed by my good friend Iyad Yagar, who is present here today. Today we must employ all possible instruments, legal, diplomatic, informational, and economic. We need to mobilize all available forces from parliamentarians and governments to the academic community and the diasporas. In the context, I call for close and more systematic cooperation between the Republic of Lithuania and the North Caucasus Committee and the government of the Chechen Republic of Ichkeria. This should not be episodic, symbolic communication, but ongoing, institutionalized work, consultations, joint resolutions, expert groups, humanitarian and educational programs. We are living at a moment when tomorrow really may be too late. Too late to recognize a genocide when the witnesses have been destroyed. Too late to defend your freedom when the enemy is already at your door. Too late to speak solidarity when the one who needed it has already seen his country wiped from the map. But today is not yet too late. Today we still have the chance to unite historical justice with political responsibility. The recognition of the genocide of the Circassian people is a step towards restoring the truth about the crimes of the Russian Empire. The recognition of Ichkeria as an occupied territory is a step towards forming a new, honest architecture for security in which the peoples of the Caucasus cease to be small change in someone else's geopolitical games. Honorable friends, honorable participants of this conference, Lithuania once made its choice in favor of freedom, and by this choice it inspired others. Today, Lithuania has the opportunity once again to be the voice of principle, not only for Europe, but also for those people whose flags still cannot freely fly over their capitals. Historical memory demands not only words, but decisions. Let your decisions become the very landmark that shows in the 21st century there is no place for empires that justify genocide, occupation, and colonial slavery. There is a place only for free nations that defend to each other. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Ичкерия.
Gratitude to Lithuania, its people, its parliament, and our friends here for having us today. It means a lot for us that we are in Lithuania, a small, democratic, free European nation, resembles in our mind what Circassia will be down the line in the future, I hope. First, I'd like to convey the greetings of your Circassian friends in the United States and our American friends, scholars, politicians, and others who have helped us in the past 20 years to advance the Circassian cause. We come here with a happy heart to see our friends here in Lithuania, and we would like to build a strong relations in the future. I live about maybe 25 minutes ago from the United Nations building in New York City. In the United Nations, there is the Human Rights Commission that established something that we call the genocide as a crime against humanity. When a nation like Russia commits crimes repeatedly over the centuries since the Russian Federation into the Soviet Union up until the Russian Federation, this is a crime against humanity. The killing and displacement of Circassian people and making them a captive nation in the Russian Federation is also a crime against humanity. But when we talk about crime against humanity, we are speaking that this crime is not only committed against Russia, but it's also committed against all free nations of the world, including Lithuania. So our duty as free nations, as nations desire to seek freedom and gain freedom, is to recognize the tragedy of other people, because it's not only the tragedy of certain people, it's a tragedy against humanity. What this will do is, of course, acknowledgement that a European free nation, strong, well-organized, well-respected in the United States and in Europe, is advancing the cause of human rights. And that is very important into the future. And the importance of this comes in because our intention by recognizing a crime that happened in the 19th century into the 20th century until today is a strong step to prevent such crimes from happening in the future, whether it's against Ukraine or any other nation, against the Circassians, Chechnya, Ingushetia, or Dagestan. The prevention of this crime is the most important thing, and the step number one to prevent such crimes in the future is to recognize what had happened in the past. With that, I would like to add that we, as Circassians throughout the world, we suffered a lot. And as North Caucasus, as a region, we share history, we share blood, we share religion, we share culture, we share traditions. The similarities among our nations is so striking that you cannot at times tell the difference between a Circassian, Chechen, English, and Dagestani. And we all suffered the same exact way by the same aggressor, during the same time, and we still carry the consequences today. Our genocide, the Circassian genocide, the worst part of it, it's continuing until now. being that Russia is maintaining the same conditions and the same restriction against Circassians to recover from the so-called genocide that intended to erase our identity and the identity of our nations in the Caucasus, Chechnya, Ingushetia, and Dagestan. So, as we are here today, hoping that this recognition will be coming as soon as it is possible, then we will be able to expand on this and make this as a springboard for the rest of the civilized nations of the world to recognize the genocide and to bring us to the point where we can take an effective role as a free nations in the future to prevent similar genocide to happen. Again, we're delighted to be here, and we are very grateful for Lithuania to give us this opportunity.
We actually want to thank the Lithuanian nation and your parliament for giving us the opportunity to come and speak to your public and to your people about our tragedy. The Circassian genocide, it's not just a historical event, it was a crime against humanity. It was a crime against all the small nations that Russia occupied and invaded. I will be very brief for just 1 minute, not more than that. Imagine somebody will tell you that Vilnius is Russia. How would you feel about that? This is exactly how we feel when somebody calls us the south of Russia. This is our feeling. This criminal state occupied our land, they killed our people, they stole, let's say, our beaches, and they used them to make ports, to go through these ports to the world and invade more and more and more nations. If they did not stop, they will get even more criminal. We know that, and we have to stop. Big Russia is a big problem, small Russia is a small problem, and we know for ourselves that Lithuania will be one of the biggest steps for us to have our own recognition as a European nation. Thank you very much.
Genocide, aggression, wars, and things like that. So it's a duty toward ourselves to recognize the genocide as a crime against humanity. With this, I wanted to tell you, and I'm happy to see here our brothers, the Chechens and the Georgians. This is just a quick note here to say, and that's very important for us to do and to understand. We Circassians and Chechens and Dagestanis and Georgians, we often talk about history. We had long history of wars, of bravery. We fought the Russians like nobody else did. And we can fight the Russians still like nobody else can. And we can continue another 101 years as a small number fighting for our rights in a civilized way. And we can still win if the civilized world is behind us. But today it's important, we talk about our heroes in the past. We talk about Imam Shamil, and we talk about other heroes. I can't recall right now the name readily. And we talked about heroes in Georgia, Zviad Kamsakhurdia. We talked about we talked about Johar Dudayev. We talked about But today I wanted to tell you that we really need to admire our heroes who are here today. One of them is my dear brother, Prime Minister Akhmed Zakaev. Today, Akhmed Zakaev is the hero of the Caucasus. Today, Mirab Shukwa is the hero of Georgia. acknowledge our heroes, then we are giving the second generation to build a second wave of heroes, so the fight will continue, so we will not lose this war. We haven't lost the war, we're still fighting, but we need to build the second wave, like Glenn Howard said, the fourth wave. We are the second wave in here. We have to find our leadership for the future, so this way someone will carry the torch and go forward with this, and this is how we continue. So my recommendation is to admire and honor and support our today's hero instead of talking about the heroes of the past. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on this important historical step. The Caucasus must be free, and the only way for this to happen is for the Caucasian peoples to work closely together. And this means standing together, all together, such as at this conference here in Vilnius, where all the Caucasians helped to make the case to the Vilnius Parliament about recognizing the Circassian genocide. And it's also just as important for each nation to develop stronger bilateral ties, which we have witnessed today. So I'm very honored and happy to see this moment. As a historian of the Caucasus, I see in this event the continuation of a centuries-long dream of unification, and I'm happy to see each generation continue this dream, and one day it will happen. The Caucasus will be free, and Circassia will be free, Chechnya will be free, everyone will be free.
Of course.
Also,
Of course.
Terezkhil Gmadl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We need NATO as a partner in Chechnya, in Georgia, in Caucasus.
NATO needs us as partners.
Of course.
Ну, смешно, ладно.
Австрия вас поддержит.
European nation, we owe you.
I'm happy that we can help in this conference.
Thank you very much. I would like to say a few words about what happened today. It's really historic.
Great day.
And for this, we're very grateful for everybody who helped to help us here to have this conference and to have this good decision to recognize this genocide. And we have last 25 years very good friends in Lithuania. She is our ambassador in Lithuania. About 25 years she works here, and she knows everybody. And we have a lot of friends here. And also, as a prime minister during this time, I would like to say again, thank you very much. Lithuania and this country, you know what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on, what happened in Chechnya, what's going on in Georgia, because we already have experience to stay and fight against the same common enemy. This is Russia Empire. And I would like to have a lot of friends. We united now, Черкесские, Caucasian people, Georgia. Total, yeah. Tomorrow we prepare to sign a memorandum between the government of Georgia government who successor the Zviad Gamsahurdi government. We are the same, yeah, all presidents. And it will be very important. If it's happened here tomorrow, it's good. If not, we will come back to Lithuania and we will make again this event to sign this memorandum. And I would like to say something, because you know very well what's going to happen.
Всем
very much.
For English, yes, because Черкесия.
Thank you, dear Amina. Thank you, dear Ahmed. We are proud being here with Lithuania. This is a great country which was fighting not only for Lithuanian freedom, but freedom for all Caucasians. Lietuva, as we say in Georgia, because Lietuva and Zakaev is a normal language or in our literature languages. In Lietuva language, Georgia is Zakaev, only Zakaev, not Georgia. And Georgian language, Lietuva is only one for Lithuanian language, Lithuanian country, and Lithuanian nation. And thank you again, my great respect, because I represent here Georgian government from Zakayev's. Zakayev's is the first president of Georgia, as without us Landsbergis, and he is the first president of independent Lithuanian state. And we see here the Prime Minister of Ичкерия. Lietuva has been used support for Chechnya, for Ичкерия, for Georgia also. One time we remember when Zakayев was exiled for his homeland, without us Landsbergis was one president in the world who supported Zakayев and Johar Duda. Because at that time, world was blind and deaf in our direction to have freedom and statehood in Chechnya and in Georgia. Because of it, it was poor d'état Uch in Chechnya and in Georgia also. But tomorrow it is normal and symbolically it is realistic. In Vильнюсе we will prepare and then signature memorandum between Ичкерия and Georgia. Thank you. You are great. This is the great country.
And one more thing. You know, he's from Ukraine. And what going on now? Why we here? Who consolidate us? All of us. It's Ukrainian people. Because we looking what going on in Ukraine, and everybody understood. It's not. It started in Chechnya. It's come to Ukraine. Tomorrow, after tomorrow, if we lose, if Ukrainians lose, it will come to Lithuania and other countries. But therefore, we need to support them. Therefore, it is not just Ukrainian battle. It is our common battle to defeat Russia as empire. Please.
Шановний пане міністре, dear minister, шановне товариство, dear people. Сьогодні був надзвичайно важливий захід. There was a very important meeting. Україна виробляє свою зараз політику, державну політику ставлення до окупованих народів.
Ukraine is creating its right now is in the process of creation of the policy of how do we treat the occupied nations.
В Верховній Раді України є зараз напрацьований законопроект про підтримку поневолених народів, і ми сподіваємося, що він буде прийнятий.
In the Parliament of Ukraine, the Verkhovna Rada, right now there is a draft of a new legislative act, and we are hoping it will be approved.
Нам дуже потрібно, щоб така політика була і в інших країн. І ми сподіваємося, що Литва буде цією країною, і сьогоднішній захід він є кроком до цього напрямку.
We really want this policy, we really need this policy in other countries as well, and we hope that from today on, Lithuania will be an example of this.
Коли імперія перестане існувати, тільки тоді настане мир, справжній мир, і не буде загрози і Україні, і іншим народам.
When this empire stops to exist, only then we will have a real peace and no threat to other nations.
Дякую вам.
Thank you.
Я хочу очень поблагодарить всех своих друзей, черкесов, чеченцев, украинцев, картвелов и других за то, что сегодня не только вы объединились, но вы объединили нас, литовцев.
I want to thank all of my friends from all of the nations here that today not only you united, but united us, Lithuanians.
Потому что сегодня мы видели людей из самых разных народов, из самых разных политических партий, из самых разных религий и культур, но всех нас объединила любовь к человеку и любовь к свободе.
Because today we've seen people from many different nations, many different religions, many different cultures, but all of us were united by love for the person, love for people, love for the freedom of nations.
Я верю, что недолго ждать, как мы все встретимся в освобожденной Украине, в освобожденном Крыму и в освобожденной Черкесии.
I believe we don't need to long wait until we all meet in the right Crimea, Circassia, and in the free nations.
Так что да здравствует Литва, да здравствует свободная Черкесия и слава Украине!
Героям!
Слава Украине!
Я хочу поблагодарить литовский народ в лице его сыновей и дочерей, которые нам сегодня открыли дверь не только в Литву, но и в Европу в целом.
I want to thank all of our Lithuanians, all of our Lithuanian friends in the faces of the sons and daughters of this nation that today opened us doors not only into Lithuania but into the whole Europe.
При этом я хочу поблагодарить каждого из здесь присутствующих, который уделил нам свое время. Время — это самое драгоценное, что есть у человека. Каждый из здесь присутствующих пожертвовал своим временем, чтобы поддержать нас. И сегодня мы себя чувствовали не как черкесский народ, которого поддерживали. Мы сегодня почувствовали, что мы один народ.
And today, I want to thank everyone from here that you spent your time for us, and today your valuable time, and today we felt that you are not just here for us, and we are not just different nations, we are part of one nation, one idea.
С уверенностью могу сказать, что любая поддержка, которая возможна от черкесского народа, для всех присутствующих здесь, для чеченского, братского нашего народа, для бурятского народа, для народа Эрзя, мы точно так же выступим как один народ и точно так же поможем, как сегодня нам помогли.
And I also want to say that if any help comes to our Circassian people, Burat people, other nations here present, we will also do the same for you.
Проблемы, которые мы преодолеваем сегодня как народ Черкесии, аналогичные проблемы преодолевают и другие народы. В этом мы похожи. Поэтому нахождение пути для одного народа будет означать и нахождение пути решения проблем для других народов.
The problems that we as Circassian people have, they also are faced by other nations. So finding a path for one nation means finding a case and finding a path for other nations as well.
При этом я хочу отметить, что прямо или опосредованно сегодня мы смогли здесь собраться благодаря героическим усилиям Украины.
And I also want to say that we could gather together here because of the heroic the heroism of Ukrainian nation.
Поэтому мы выражаем безусловную поддержку Украине и закончу, значит, так, слава Украине.
Героям слава!
Actually, when we decided to come to Lithuania for having connections, we made some search about Lithuanian people, Lithuanian culture, and we saw that Lithuanian people are well known with their helpful approach to other people, not only to Lithuanians, to other people, to foreigners, and these encourage us to have connections with Lithuania more. And actually today we saw how they are so helpful, how they are so open for connections, and actually they can have, they can make empathy because of their experience of Russian atrocity during the Tsardom era, Soviet era. And we are very happy, we are very glad for the help because it is not easy to make your voice in the international area. Lithuania gave us this opportunity. Additionally, our friends from Chechnya, from Zakayeva, from Ukraine, from Crimea, and Buryats, and
from
Ingushetia, of course, and all of them are here to support us, and this is very valuable. This is very big cooperation, and I would like to thank to all people, all colleagues, and we are grateful for your support. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraine, Slava Chechnya, Slava Circassia, Slava
Freedom, long live Lithuania!
Long live Lithuania!
Long live Lithuania!
Thank you very much.
Tai man didelė garbė ir įvertinimas ir įpareigojimas ateičiai. Sėkmės mums visiems. Good luck in our common cause, in our common fight for freedom.
Mr. Chairman, dear members of Parliament, invited guests and colleagues, it is a great honor for me to represent the Republic of Georgia, the government of the first president of Georgia, Zakaev, in the Lithuanian Seimas as a deputy prime minister at the time when Georgia is a de facto government of the pro-Russian Georgian dream in Tbilisi. I am pleased to see here the Prime Minister of the Republic of Ичкерия, which comes from the fourth president of Ичкерия, Johar Dudaev, Mr. Akhmed Zakhaev. My great respect to Circassians, all Caucasians who are carrying out the fight against Russian Empire for the independence of all Caucasus. So I was a member of the national movement in Georgia, and I am proud now standing here with these people who were fighting for the independence of Lithuania at that time. And this was our whole movement, united movement of the people of USSR when we were waiting for our independence. And now Lithuania is an independent country, a member of Euro Union and member of NATO. We need NATO. We need independence on Caucasus. Please. and thanks to my Circassian people, I am proud to say today all of us are Circassians. In the Caucasus, Circassia was historically a country famous for the seaside in the Caucasus Circassia. Kabardians, Shapsuks, and others, Adigas, are sub-ethnic groups of the Circassian nation who lived and developed on the Black Sea coast of the North Caucasus for many centuries. At the beginning of the 20th coast of the century, the artificial division of one ethnic group into nationalities is the natural result of the Russian imperialist policy in the Caucasus. When the center of colonization, Moscow, not only divided but also opposite sub-ethnic groups related to each other. As a caucologist, I am often asked why it is necessary and important to recognize the Circassian genocide. I think, and I always emphasize this, that recognizing determining the territories of ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Circassians, we determine on which territories the Circassian state was located. And we see that it was located on the Black Sea coast and on a fairly large territory. Until the end of the Circassian War, the Western Circassians, Adigas, lived throughout the Krasnodar territory and Adygea. South of the Kuban River, the Shakhe River in the Lazarevsky district of Sochi. In 2012, Georgian historians Beradze, Topuria, Khorava presented a reconstructed picture of the sub-ethnic settlements of Circassia. It turned out that the Circassians lived on the coast of the Black Sea in the following order from Taman to the river Sashukho. The territory occupied by Natukhai from the river Adagum to the river Shakhe. The territory occupied by Shapsuks and from the river Shakhe to Psol, the beach line occupied by the Ubiks. Today, the Circassian nation, which is in danger of disappearing physically, rarely demands the return to the forcibly expelled Circassians to their historical homeland. The goal of the Circassians is to resettle the repatriates where the Russian Empire unjustly and cruelly deported them to the Ottoman Empire. What is the ultimate goal of Circassians? Of course, the restoration of statehood in the historical borders of Circassia and the construction of modern independent Circassia, free Circassia on the Black Sea coast. In the modern world, a number of problems have appeared, whose existence, let's say, a few years ago, the West considered as only hypothetical trees. That is why it remained unanswered and was laterally ignored for years with negative, severe humanitarian consequences, such as Abkhazia, Ingushetia, Ossetia, and wars in Chechnya, and annexion, occupation of Georgia and Ukraine in our days, as well as the ethnic cleansing on Caucasus. Obviously, Russia was involved, but from the hypothetical these problems moved very quickly to the practical dimension. I would like to believe that already today American states and Europe, the collective West in general, will develop a Black Sea strategy when modern politicians recognize the unique strategic importance of the Caucasus region from an economic, diplomatic, military point of view. It's clear that under the conditions of the partnership unity of Ukraine, Georgia, Circassia, the strategic location of the Black Sea basin in Caucasus, Ukraine, Circassia, Georgia, Turkey, when maritime borders will be created without Russia. And we will be able to have the opportunity to make it clear to Washington and Brussels that an independent country, Circassia, in the Caucasus region offers the West as a unique geographical advantage. Without Baltic and Black Sea, Russia as an empire will cease to exist. It's clear, with the aggression carried out by Putin in Ukraine, Russia has chosen the path of terrorism and finally abandoned democracy, which means the imperial traditions will become even stronger in Russia. The Georgia state should come up with a new initiative and start a direct dialogue with the peoples of the North Caucasus on a new paradigm of common future and coexistence in a single regional space which will be based on good neighborly, political, cultural, and economical relations between our peoples. I say Circassians and Circassia are part of Europe, and I think we must demand from Europe and the United States to recognize the self-determination of these people, Circassian people. Currently, the legitimate government of the Republic of Georgia is faced with a test of epochal importance in the conditions of the invasion of Ukraine by the Russian terrorist state to correctly define Georgian Circassian interests and show the world community the historical realities that the genocide and occupation annexation that Putin's Russia is currently carrying out in Ukraine are a reality that Circassians experienced on themselves 200 years ago. That at the three Circassian republics plus the Black Sea territories from the Pskov River to Anapa Novorossiysk up to the state borders of Ukraine are the homeland of the Circassians, where the formation of the Circassian nation historically took place. The Lithuanian state itself was a victim of Russian imperial aggressive policy in 1940-1990. Therefore, you, dear members of parliament, understand our problems in the Caucasus well, better than Russians. And I think, following in the footsteps of Georgia and Ukraine, you will make a fair decision to recognize the Circassian genocide, which has existential significance for the Circassian nation. Let's also take into account that the Circassians are only one nation in the world that lost his historical homeland because of the Russian aggressive genocide. On May 2011, in the Parliament of Georgia, at a joint meeting of various committees, I presented the scientific conclusion on the genocide of the Circassian nation. In my closing remark, it was approved. What was carried out by the Russian Empire against the Circassian nation qualifies as an explicit genocide. The Parliament of Georgia has a chance to restore the historical justice, pay tribute to the millions of victims and honor the memory of hundreds of thousands of murdered Circassians. And today, standing here in my speech in the Lithuanian parliament, same as I will happily repeat my request. Dear Lithuanians, please recognize the Circassian genocide. The Lithuanian Seimas recently had a very positive experience recognizing the Crimean Tatar genocide in 2019. This time, by recognizing the Circassian genocide, you will write a new legal history that your descendant will be proud of for a long time. Thank you.
I just wanted to make a very, very quick note. In the Caucasus, we have a tradition that we give as a gift to anyone anything we have. The only thing that we don't give as a gift is our weapons. We only give that to a very, very dear, respected, deeply respected friend. Yeah. So now you have our karma with you, and it's our weapons. Bravo.
We want to present this to Mr. Marius. I have the honor to present this. I'm bad with furniture and technology. And please, Mr. Gantaras, if you
Thank you. I look at this gift as a credit for very near future.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will be the last voice here today in this place. I want to thank you very much. I know how it was a very tireless day for you. Most of you have nicotine crisis now to go out and have a cigarette. I know that. I'm one of you. Before I finish, I will read the resolution for you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, be active with me because I will ask some questions. Please have a seat, please. It's going to take time, not a long time, but the resolution actually have 4 points, and I want to ask each one of you, please, if you support these points or not. Recognition of the Circassian genocide, and this is what we are asking from the state of Lithuania and the parliament of Lithuania. Please raise your hand if you find this a right thing to do. Thank you very much. The second one is affirmation of the right to return and self-determination. Our right to go back to our homeland, our right to rule it, our right to make our laws and our ways of life from our culture and from our traditions. Do you think we have this right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Third, support for international investigation and recognition. We do have a lot of crimes under the soil and the sand of our homeland. You won't imagine how many children we have there, women. You won't imagine how tragedy you will go. I don't want to be a poetry guy, but if you took the soil from any place of the Caucasus, you will hear the screams of these newborn kids and babies, women screaming, running from the Russian soldiers. You can see it there. It's everywhere, but you just need to look a little bit deeper. So do you think we have this right to be investigated for the crimes that we had with our homeland? Will you raise your hand if you please? Thank you. Fourth, we really want a long-term solidarity and cooperation with Lithuania and the European Union and all our neighbors, Caucasian states and other states. We want to have a cooperation. I will never call Chechnya south of Russia. I will never call Dagestan south of Russia. And I will never let anybody call me South Russian. I'm a Circassian from Circassia, which is occupied by Russia. So it's a big insult to call me south of Russia. So not south of Russian countries or states that we are looking for cooperation and long-term relations. No, we are looking with you, the people who really believes on what we believe. Will you please think this is the right thing to ask for? Thank you very much. This was the resolution. I want to thank each one of you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to our problem. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for helping us presenting our problem and our tragedy, our rights, to make it a fact, to show the Lithuanian parliament, the Lithuanian deputies, our brothers and sisters. You helped us to show them the fact of the crime, of the tragedy that happened to us. We wish, we demand, and we know that the Lithuanian parliament will recognize the Circassian genocide and Circassian rights, because Lithuania is not less than Ukraine or Georgia in this field of human rights. Thank you very much.
Aš savo ruožtu norėčiau padėkoti gerbiams vertėjams už labai sunkų darbą. Labai ačiū, be jūsų darbo tikrai konferencija negalėtų įvykti ir skelbiu, kad konferencija yra baigta, tai yra pirmas žingsnis ir darbas tęsiamas. Ačiū labai visiems.